Welcome to Quranic Connections. I'm Marina, your host and interviewer, on a mission to reimagine our perceptions of the Islamic world by painting a unified artwork of education, Islam, and community engagement. As someone dedicated to developing and designing curriculum content, I've taken on this role with the goal of fostering a meaningful shift in understanding the world around us. We're delighted to introduce Wassim Hijazi, a devoted educator whose path from the soccer field of Sydney Olympic to teaching has been shaped by his parents' resilience and community commitment. With a finance background, Wassim discovered his true calling in education, recently marking a new chapter by penning his first novel, The Miracle of Ramadan. Join us as we delve into Wassim's inspiring journey, influenced by family, and explore the intersections of his life with community, Islam, and the workplace. Stay tuned for an insightful conversation ahead. Now that we've set the stage, let's welcome Wassim Hijazi. So Wassim, how connected are you to community?
First of all, Assalamu alaikum, Hajia, and thanks for having me today. I'm very honored. Growing up, my father and mother were, very connected to the community. So my mother, when they came to Australia in the 60s, my mother didn't speak a word of English. May she rest in peace, Allah yarhamah. She didn't speak a word of English, and she started working in a bank and things like that. And from there, she said she wants to become a teacher, despite the fact, not speaking proper English, etc. She went and she learned English, and then she's such a strong, Allah yarhamah, such a strong woman. She went to university, and she got her Bachelor of Education. There, she found her first job working in a school just down the road, which was Athelstane Public School, to where she worked all the way to her, to her death, Allah yarham. And from that, obviously, she probably went through teaching the majority of the youth in Arncliffe and the surrounding suburbs in that school. And as a result, she was a big figure in the community. Likewise, my father, he worked at Telstra for 25 years. Once he retired, him with some community members that were working at Al-Zahra Mosque at the time. They opened up the Arncliffe Community Care. From there, they help the local community out where they can. And of course, the whole goal is to sell books to the community to help with education and things like that. And they raise money for the orphans of Lebanon. So through that, I've always had a big role in the community here. All my friends are from the community, and as a result, we try as much as we can to give back to the local community of the St. George area. But once I became a teacher, as you said, I was a banker before I became a teacher. I worked at Citibank, and two great guys, Dora Denawi and Yahya Lasik, they helped me get a job there. And I worked there, and I quickly learned the whole world of finance and things like that. But I never felt any reward, any sort of happiness working there. And I said, you know what, my mother has had such a big impact on the community. I want to do the same thing. So I started my second degree at Charles Sturt University, correspondence. Started the whole Bachelor of Education, and through there I got my second degree. And pretty much straight away I was luckily offered a job by, at the time, the principal of Belfield College, Hajilena Jabaili, and everything went from there. I went to a different community. I went out west. I actually thought at the beginning, I knew the people, the owners of the school that made the school, but I didn't know it was out west. I thought it was in Belfield, in Elwood, near Elwood. So, I kept driving out west and went out there, and it was a shock to me. It was such a beautiful place. It was on a big farm at the time, a few demountables, very different to the schools I had done teaching at. And from there, I was able to join a second community, which was the Western community and the West Sydney community. And from there, I'll be honest with you, like, I've seen a whole new world. In our area, it's all mostly people, our community members are mostly from Lebanon, or migrants from Lebanon, and out in the West, it's such a wide range of cultures, and I've been able to learn so much about that, and it's influenced me a lot, how I think, how I see the world, and it's been amazing, and that's why I've been there for 12 years, I think.
Wow, what an experience. So you would say you define community to be somewhat it's a place, but at the same time it's a place made of people of a similar culture? Or would you just say it's a space or a place where people of similar beliefs? Because if you look at both communities, they have the same belief system. If you look at the two communities
Uh,
that you sort of moved from one community to another. And
yeah.
so I can see that maybe you're heading in the direction that a community to you would be under the banner of a belief system for this, for in this context. Or is there other
Of course,
communities that you sort of
no, like this, of course, your first community, I guess, would be your
mm,
family,
yeah,
and then, it extends to your wider family, and then, your next door neighbor. My next door neighbor is not
yeah,
from my faith or whatever, but he's there. I'll help him out with whatever he needs in his life,
nice.
or my neighbors, and it goes and it expands from there, So it's not only your culture or your religion,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously Islam is very important to me. It's the way, um, everything, it's the way of life. So those that are inside of that religion, after, I just find myself with them somehow, one way or another, because you go to the mosque to pray and you'll see your friends there, you meet friends there, or when you're young, you go to the local park after, Eid and Eid prayers, and you
You have
meet
something in
people, or you go to
common.
the kebab shop. It's just something, yeah, it's just something that happens.
You
I
can
don't know if
actually,
it's happened
have
for
that
me every single
conversation,
time.
feel that sense of belonging, in a way
Yeah,
you don't have to. Someone said to me once, you don't have to explain yourself in a way. You just sort of go
yeah.
in and you just be.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, I've got many, many non-Muslim friends that we're still friends now. We went to high school
Mm-hmm.
together, went to university together. We still play soccer together. We meet up all the time for coffee, etc. So it's not about religion. It's just it ends up becoming, that's your circle, and that's
Well,
to be honest, that's that community there is the community that I've invested most of my time, efforts in improving the youth.
100%, 100%.
Yeah,
Look, and at the end of
yeah,
the day, it's where you obviously went through a soccer community. You just said that you had your
yeah,
friends in a soccer community. That's another,
yeah. Of
form of community.
course.
But what's beautiful about this podcast is the fact that we're sort of looking at how community, and then if you look at the next question, it does say, how
Yeah,
connected are you to Islam? And so it's
yeah.
just a natural, fit. They just fit nicely sometimes together because they sort of resemble each
Correct,
other. So
correct.
I'm going to go on to my next question. How connected are you to Islam?
Of course, Islam's a way of life, and I try my best anyway. Unfortunately, no, we need perfect, but try my best to follow the Islamic principles, even through education. When I'm teaching, we try to instill Islamic principles into the programs we write and these sorts of things, which is why I'm so excited about your current initiative of Quranic Connections, which is something that, I know our school, we try our best to do that, but the way you've done it is unbelievable. So
Thank you.
yeah, Islam is everything, really. It's a way of life. It's more than that. It's when I follow my religion properly, I'm at my happiest. I'm at my most content, and it's given me everything. So when I don't follow it, when I've made mistakes, it's when I'm least happy. And we want to be happy. We want to be close to God, and religion gives us that. From a young age, I've had two parents that always, um, you know, they didn't force religion upon me. They kind of were just the best ambassadors and best, they just lived Islam in the house. They lived Islam
Lived
everywhere we
Islam. That's
went,
it. That's
through
the key.
virtues, through,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, through virtues. Like my father, if he sees someone, doesn't matter who he is, what religion, what race, whatever, he's on the ground, he'll help him out. Just simple virtues of compassion and these sorts of things. Always, I was always brought up with that, and that's Islam. That's Islam to a T, and that's what I love so much about the religion.
That's right. So I resonate with that definitely. It's something that is just the everyday living. It's not segregated. It's not a separate thing. It's not something that you sort of visit once you head to the mosque or you are a part of that community. It's your everyday being and being able to be, see the world through that lens of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. is definitely the way we would love, every being to see it, because once you see the world through that lens, there's no turning back, because it brings you so much contentment and happiness. And it takes you to the next question, because in a way that sometimes we've got our community who sometimes, heighten us and remind us of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they are sort of, they're the people that, have the same values in a way. And then we've got Islam, which is our everyday actions, and things that we sort of do in terms of like prayers, mosque, and etc. And then we've got our, conscious behavior and whatnot. But then we have our workplace, and sometimes we sort of segregate that, and we're sort of, oh, I'm working now, so I'm in a different field. How connected are you to workplace?
Of course, very connected. So our workplace, where I currently am employed, honestly, it's like a big family, and lots of my friends also work there. From people that I've grown up with, close friends that I look at as brothers. We all work together, so we're very lucky. For instance, when it's Ramadan, we're all fasting with the students. And we're all just guiding each other. The students sometimes guide us, sometimes we guide them, towards Allah. Every day we pray together. We have our religion classes as well that we teach. So we don't have we get the teachers that are of the Islamic faith to teach those classes, and you feel like you have to be an ambassador as a result of that. And so our workplace is often a great, a religious setting for us to follow and be proper Muslims. We have no excuses.
I think you're just lucky that way, right?
Yeah. But even at Citibank, to be honest, like me and my friend, still my friend now, still very close, Yahya Lasik. We used to always, at lunchtime, as soon as lunchtime would hit, we'd go into a hall, a little hall room. There was a room there. We used to go in there and pray every day, then go and get lunch. On Fridays, there was a convenience store, like one of those 24/7 convenience stores. You'd go in there, and then at the back of it was a big area, and there was Friday prayers there for there must have been 100 or 200 men that would go every Friday. So even though we were at work in the city, in Sydney, one of the biggest cities in the world, we still were able to have a close connection to Islam and to Allah. We'd still see members of the Ummah all around the city. Meet up for lunch, etc. So that never left, even when we were at
Did you feel connected to workplace because you were able to incorporate Islam into it in every aspect of your workplace?
Yeah, of course not. Like when you're working for an institution like that, you're doing
your job. When you're working at Citibank, when you're working in the finance, it made you feel you were able to feel connected to the workplace because you were able to do your prayers and do your things, or were they still two separate things?
To be honest, yeah, two separate things. Like when you're at Citibank, you're during that period, I guess, you're earning your salary and you're working. Like that's it. And it's your off time. It's your time that you got, like your hour off or your little break or whatever that you look to Islam. Of course, all your decisions. Like if someone came to you and wanted to tell you, let's do this, it's unethical, but let's do it. Islam would automatically take over your decision-making process there and say, no, that's not right, because it's a religion, but it's also, basically what's right and what's wrong. And if you're going to steal from someone, or you're going to hurt somebody, or you're going to lie, or you're
still embodying the character of a Muslim,
a Muslim, and also a good person, just a good bloke, as we say in Australia, So, I guess there were two different things. You're right. We're looking at it like that, but we're working at an Islamic school. It's always one, which is the most beautiful thing about it. It's why I've lasted 12 years, and I think while I'm in a teaching profession, I can never imagine working at another, outside of the Islamic schools, like the Belfort colleges and the Al Zahra College.
I completely agree with you, because once you experience a Islamic environment or Islamic school, your heart pretty much sets there. And then once you remove yourself and you venture out into the workplace, like the world, the real world, like they say, or out into the world, you sort of feel that there's a void there, you need to fill it. And
Of
you
course.
can see that this podcast is pretty much filling that void right now. You
Yeah.
can
Look,
building this platform is pretty much always trying to find that connection and trying to feel that sense of connection in, and
100%.
we always bring it back to Islam, subhanallah. Like we've
Yeah.
got the community, and then we've got Islam, but then we've got workplace, but then we always brought it back to that one thing that sits in our hearts, which is Islam, subhanallah.
Look, working at I teach our students, not everyone's going to be lucky enough to work in an Islamic school teaching young Islamic Muslim students about, geography and history and Islam. You're going to most of them are going to be out there working in the real world, working amongst, in building or in the banks or whatever, and they have to be proud, unapologetic Muslims because our religion is beautiful. Our religion practices, uh, great virtues, following great morals, great ethics, and they have to go out there and know that they can be proud of who they are and they will be accepted because you know what, I was like that. I never, never tippy-toed around being a Muslim or never tippy-toed around anything. And I'll be honest with you, I've never had an issue with anyone in Australia being like that.
Absolutely.
From what
Absolutely.
I've seen, it's my friends or that are kind of ashamed of being, or not ashamed to try to hide it, or as you said before, can you connect Islam to your workplace? They try to hide it, or they try to just I'll pray on my own, and or when I get home or whatever, they end up getting found out for being, oh, are you Muslim? I didn't know that, and next thing it gets uncomfortable. And why were you hiding that for? You're not proud of who you are, etc. You know what? People will always respect you if you're proud of who you are and you represent your religion well, and those sorts of
Beautifully
things.
said.
If you're not like that, I believe you won't get anywhere in life. And it's not because you're a Muslim; it's actually because you were ashamed to be a Muslim.
And the fact that you mentioned that idea, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, clearly.
Yeah, sorry. The fact that you came back and you mentioned that you should be a proud Muslim, regardless of, if you're not working at an Islamic institute, that's like key. That is key. I'm so glad that you brought it up because it is the embodiment of a Muslim character, and we're always representatives of Islam, regardless of where we are. So we are actually doing our Islamic duty by being around in the world because we are spreading Islam through our character and through our morals. And
100%.
in saying that as well, you gain a lot of skill, and that skill set you can actually apply it, in the future of some Islamic community that you need to give back. You learn a lot from different types of people. You learn a lot from different institutions, and there's, again, it's always comes down to your intention on how you take on Islam. So you can actually go to the workplace and bring Islam into everything. You can say, well, I'm learning this skill because one day I might be taking this on to my community or to a place that needs this skill, or today I'm going to put on a smile, even though I feel so angry and I feel frustrated, but Islamically, I need to pull myself up together and go in with that big smile on my face and represent Islam to its best. So, absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up because it's really
100%.
important.
100%. In regards to that, I even remember playing soccer. Me and Hussein Akil, I'm sure you guys have heard of him. He was a very, prominent soccer player. We played in the same team. And for instance, before the game, like an hour before kickoff or whatever, if it was prayer time, we'd pray together, and the boys in the room would always, for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, they try not to walk in on us, and they'd always give us that respect. And you know what? They always respected us so much. We only got love and respect from them. There was never any issues. So, once again, by being proud and trying your best to represent your religion in a positive, enlightening way, it only benefits you. It will never harm you.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what the Quran tells us. We do come from different tribes and we live together, and let's embrace that. Let's embrace Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation of all the different types of religions and cultures, and fit in, we should be proud. And yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you just kept on rephrasing that and reiterating that, because that's the biggest, I think that's the biggest share for to inspire the audience, really. I'm
you
just
know,
going
like,
to,
you know,
sorry, yes.
I was going to say, you know why I emphasize that point is because working at an Islamic school for 12 years, it's always one fear I have is that our students, they've been in like a bubble or whatnot for a long time. Once they go out and get a job or they go to university or whatever, I want them to always remember who they are, never change, be proud of yourself, and and love your religion, but be compassionate. And these things will always put you in the right stead. You end up being respected, and you do well as a result. So that's why I wanted to emphasize that.
Thank you so much, Wassim. I really enjoyed having you on today.
Thank you.
And inshallah, we'll hear a lot more from you in the future. Thank you.